Today we have 4 teams. So first team is going to be Live in China. And we have founder Julian Gartner. Please come to the stage.
How are you? Thank you.
Wow, Julian, I heard that you speak quite a few languages. So can you just show us a little bit about your Mandarin and Cantonese?
可以啦，你講廣東話定係你講普通話？
廣東話我都可以講嘅，得㗎。除咗呢一句，你仲識講咩嘢？
我德國人啊嘛。
你得一個人？
唔係，我德國人。
我德國人 ，OK。
所以我識德文啦，法文少少。
哦，法文。
普通話呢？
普通話來，普通話來。
我普通話比我廣東話好很多了。
比你廣東話好。You got a Chinese girlfriend？
現在沒有哦。
現在沒有 ，OK。After show you will. Okay, after today. Okay. Now you got 2 minutes to start your presentation.
Right away?
Yes, right away.
I want to take a few seconds to really appreciate me being here with these great judges from Silicon Valley, so many business people, entrepreneurs, and successful guiders of startups. So I'm really, really happy to get some feedback here and also hear some of the people here that I know already, and I'm happy to be here with them. Very good. Thank you so much. Just a few seconds, and maybe that leads to some long-term interest in working together. Exactly. So we run a social networking site for language learners, in particular for people who want to learn Chinese. It's a platform that allows people to find language partners, language tutors, and language schools, make the right choice on that. And I can start from my own experience, and I think some of you have maybe moved to America and found similar experience. You don't know how to start, particularly if you learn Chinese. You don't know how to start. That's the big problem. You don't know, there's so many opportunities around you. There's schools, there's tutors, there's language partners, and these are the main language providers. But you don't know which choice to make. And social media platform can actually make a great deal of helping you with that choice. So we're not only a platform that lists all these language opportunities, these language providers, but also we recommend them to the users. Right? To the users, you get recommendations according to your level, according to your need, budgets, and you can get them recommended or you can just list them out. So that's our platform, and we're growing. Particularly the language partner element is a fantastic element where we facilitate the exchange on and offline of language partners. And I'm excited to share more about it. It's a great platform, and it's a free and open platform for these people to join.
Okay, well, thank you. Actually, you got 30 seconds, but we're going to save that time for you to hear the judge's question. Yes. So, Bob, do you have any questions for him?
Language learning indeed is a huge market and has been so for quite some time. And there are all kinds of online, offline, or combination. Perhaps you can tell me what differentiates you from every other people that's already offering certain kind of platform or searching engine or matching. Maybe name 1 or 2 or 3 that's truly unique contribution you are making that others haven't done yet.
Great. Thanks, Bob. So first of all, we call it livewithchina.com, and we're particularly helping people who want to learn Mandarin or Cantonese. That's the first thing, which a lot of other platforms are very specific to any language. We're helping, in particular, people learning Mandarin and Cantonese, and at the same time reaching also to a number of Chinese users who want to learn different languages. So our users are China enthusiasts, mostly, and the new generation Chinese people who want to learn different languages like French, German, and so on. So that's the first difference, that we're focusing on this market of around 100 million people right now learning Chinese. This is our market, the enthusiasts about that. That's very first. At the same time, there's no platform that actually combines these 3 elements of schools, tutors, and language partners in one overseeable platform, because maybe if you're just starting off with the basics, a school is good. If you're very, very busy and you want to have personal attention, you find a tutor, and you can find that tutor right there. And if you want to practice your language more or less, then you're finding a language partner and we're matching that directly to you. So for combining these 3 elements is very different what other people do. And as a third reason why we're different is we're not just providing a virtual world like some other platforms do. You go in there and there's a gamified world where you can learn the language with a computer. We bring in real people together, and we're using social media to bring together the real people and actually match these people together with the best interest. And I think, Jack, you would know that recommendations is something very powerful. If you bring people together, right, that are matching ideal, that are good language partners according to their location, according to the level, according to their commitment to language, language learning. And if we bring these people together, there can be a lot of inspiration of them working together, of them learning together.
If you don't mind, I've just a quick follow-up.
Yeah.
I actually hear your 3 so-called uniqueness, and none of them is truly unique to me. But having said that, I do think there's a certain type of value in providing matching services. Is your proposal universal or very much geographically restricted? The reason I ask that is that language learning is there's a very vital factor, that is to get the reward, response and reward. So almost some kind of a face-to-face or those type of, and you sounds like you have that. And so how do you charge? How do you get involved in revenue stream with such kind of services? And my apology.
No, good. Yeah. I think, Bob, there's a few questions in between that. So first of all, we're using a very new technology called Meteor.js. It's a JS JavaScript framework, so there's real-time interaction between people. And it's location-based, so you can always list these people like in a directory and actually find somebody in your, let's say, in Hong Kong Central or in Causeway Bay, so you can directly find that person. And we allow interaction between people. We're not limiting that. It's a free and open platform. You can find somebody to practice with, a language partner in Causeway Bay because that's where you live or that's where your work is, and that's fine. And we're not charging for that. But where we're charging or where we make money, because you started to look into that, is actually, of course, if we have a niche group of people in a platform and also recommend them, for example, for schools, we get some cut of the revenues of bringing these people to good schools or to good language tutors where there is a transaction between people.
So it sounds like you're trying to get people to swipe left, swipe right for finding tutors. Maybe not. And so, I mean, the biggest challenge of building any kind of social network like this, right, is to how do you bootstrap yourself to get a lot of users, and a lot of tutors on both sides. Yeah. And what's your current situation? How many users do you have? Have you launched it? And what do you plan to grow it virally, right? Because you just don't have enough money ever to get to scale unless you have some inherited virality.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So our launch event is April 25th, and of course everybody who's here is invited in Lan Kwai Fong. There's a lot of people who, and you're relating maybe to something like Tinder, which is not exactly the case because Tinder is just like a dating site. We differentiate ourselves from a dating site. We are always within the framework of language learning. People meeting each other for language learning purposes. That's what it is. So there is a lot of interest, and people may be having a bit of interest of meeting a new person and having that motivation of meeting somebody else because they would not want to just date, but they want to find a language partner. They want to find somebody who opened the door to the culture to them. And there is a lot of interest from that. And that's not only the strictly, I'm the language learner, one of these millions of people learning language, but also the people who just come here new, who maybe want to learn a few words and they want to get a bit inspired with the local culture. So the market can be from a few million to billions, right? So that's first. And how we particularly want to scale up and how we're going to get viral. We, of course, want to work with students mostly because we're going through the different universities, and that's obviously where there's a lot of cultural interaction and where people come new to a place and they maybe don't know anybody. So we particularly going through the student networks, and then we're doing a lot of digital marketing efforts right now where of course, learning from a new language and maybe me speaking sometimes Cantonese can be a big asset for us to say, oh, I can do it. And it's really the bridge of making sure that people understand that learning Chinese can be very easy. It's not this tremendous difficult language that is out there. It can be very easy. And once people understand that it can be easy, we're using social media, people will go to it and will see us as their solution for their ambition to learn Chinese.
If I can follow up on Jack's question, I think particularly for consumer apps, right? I think it's critical to have a primary use case where people will go to it many times a day, every day, right? And ideally, you want to have that use case to be viral as well, where you bring other people, and then they will use that use case to bring other people, and that's how you bring virality. I mean, Google is a classic example where they have one simple use case. You have one blank, you type in a question, you do that multiple times a day, every single day. Yeah. you laid out many different scenarios, right? But what is your primary use case that would really make it useful every single day for everybody?
Thanks, Candice. So particularly, we're helping the facilitation online also between language partners, right? Imagine you are a language partner and I'm a language partner. And I want to learn, let's say, Cantonese from you or Mandarin from you, and you want to learn German from me. So there's a thread of communication between me and you, right? I say something, you say something. And we combine that with a translation function so that people communicate at the same time and can memorize words that me and you have. Right? So in our communications about something, we talk about something, we have a particular translator tool that makes me now memorize the words that we had spoken about. And I can put them into something like cards. So we're releasing a feature actually next week, which is cards. And these cards features allow me to have my own brain in the website where I have my stack of memories or my stack of vocabularies that maybe in these interactions between language partners happened, right? And I can come back to that, and there's always my vocabularies. I can pull it up, and I can memorize and review my cards.
Thank you, Julian. Your time is up.
Thank you.
I can see the strong passion in you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the really strong passion in you. It's great.
Thank you.
That's great. And let's hear what judges think about your, overall, your business plan. So judge, please get ready to vote. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, you passed the first round, actually. Thank you.
Thank
you. No. Stay. No, Julian. Julian, come on.
Oh,
stay here.
Stay here.
You're not.
Not yet, though.
Not yet. Not yet. And next, you're going to have an EQ session.
Great.
So we have our Dr. Lee and here. But first of all, we want you to choose a number of your question. So see the screen and choose the number of your EQ question.
Go right in the middle with 3.
3, okay. Let's see the question number 3. Okay.
Okay. This question is actually for Bob.
For both of you, yes.
Okay, you share a bottle of rare red wine from your collection with your dinner guest. Before you can say anything, one of the guests adds some Sprite to the wine and recommend everybody to do so. What do you do? A, say nothing. B, say, I have heard that. I should try that today. C, smile and say, well, that surely is one of the ways to try red wines. D, none of the above.
So what's your answer?
Very tricky.
I'm going right with my gut feeling of going for C. Because I lived in China for some time, and I think sometimes people mix red wine with Coke and with Sprite. I haven't seen that yet, but I'm sure I'm sure it could be tasty. I would make sure that I make some joke a bit about it and lose up the maybe some people will be looking at that and explore a bit and try it out for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I really appreciate your open mind. Instead of like, oh my God, my red wine, or say something else. So tell me, what if other people say, and one of your guests say, well, that's not the way you do it. So how would you do, what would you say next?
Another question.
That's exactly the time for a little joke, I think.
Okay.
But I would encourage them to try it, or at the same time, of course, I'm a people person, so I would like try to have the dinner that people can make their choice to drink it with Sprite or without Sprite, and not get forced to drink it with Sprite if they don't want to drink it with Sprite. So that's I think what I would try to facilitate, that people feel like, oh, okay, there's something to try. They can enjoy themselves doing that and see the cultural differences, but have it like in a fun way. And also enjoy the dinner. If they're very, very strict about, oh, we cannot do this, then that's normally not my circle of friends. Normally it's more like, oh, let's try it out. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, you can see the judges are all smiling. Second, you said 2 things I really appreciate. One is that you recognize your own value, that you're a people pleaser. You want people around you to be happy.
Yeah.
And here's my final question. What if actually you really, like, this is like the rarest wine in the world, and this is your last one, and pleasing people versus your own interests?
Yeah.
How do you balance that?
So you can't please everybody, of course. And that's probably one way to fail, Jay, if you try to do so. So I would make understood that this is my last bottle of wine, and I would appreciate that it is consumed the way that maybe it's best to be consumed. And I would drink it, or make sure that still people say, this is a great bottle of wine. If I really want to mix it, go ahead, mix it. But in the same time, this is a rare bottle of wine. It's my last bottle of wine, and I think people normally understand that maybe that's.
That's how Bordeaux came about. We start to mix them up.
Yeah.
I think you're really a people person. I can tell that. Well, you made us feel happy, but let's see what judges vote for you EQ session. Yes. Everybody likes you. Great. Now you have an opportunity to ask a question. Yeah, I'm going to take this and have you to draw a name and ask your question to one of the judge.
Always going in the middle.
Yeah, this one, and say the name.
Yes, Jack. Here we go.
Jack.
This is all planned.
Yes.
All Jack's name.
Yes.
I would, because I'm also a bit an enthusiast, I would like to almost combine it in two questions, if that's possible.
Yeah, that's possible. Yes, I will allow you to do that.
Absolutely.
Since you made us happy.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, I'm for recommendations. The
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
Hear me better?
Yes,
Yeah.
hear you better.
I'm personally interested in how do you would see our platform or how successful do you see it something like recommending people to each other for language learning purposes? Do you see that as a first of all a big opportunity for something looking at your experience? And secondly, it's just a simple question which can be complicated is what would you recommend in a go-to-market strategy to reach out to the millions of Chinese language learners in the US?
Yeah, I think that's the toughest question I probably asked. But I actually do like. I mean, initially when you said translation in general, it was very difficult for me to understand the exact use case. But when we talk about Tinder,
Yeah.
I think there are some elements of social, really people interacting, especially among foreigners, right?
Yeah.
Sort of with local people. I think if the technology really works well, right, in a mobile environment, you can actually real-time talking to other people with different language skill. I think you may want to tap into the social psychology of men and women in this case, and maybe that, because a lot of time people joke about the best way to learn languages is getting a girlfriend or a boyfriend, right? So this may be a virtual way of doing it in some sense, because otherwise it is very difficult, right? The virality we're talking about, I mean, it's very difficult because you got to find a use case that is very frequent. We actually, GSR invests a lot of company in China, internet mobile companies. A lot of the company went very successful in a short amount of time, right? We grew from nothing to literally millions of users or tens of millions of users. My recent startup also did very similar things, from nothing, no user last June, to over 10 million, 12 million users recently. And I think the key is there's sort of three elements, but most important elements out of the three virality element is really what I call the word of action instead of word of mouth, right? When you, traditional marketing, get the word of mouth out, it's really good. But the problem is that word of mouth is actually not that powerful in the new age, right? If you tell 100 friends how wonderful this thing is, maybe there are 3 friends, maybe 2 will do something about it. But if you can find some capability within your product naturally involved with other users just through a word of action, meaning literally by the mere fact of using it, right, they start to spread, right? The messaging product really is by nature like that, right? WhatsApp is worth 19 billion because when you talk to someone, you have 2 people involved, right? 2 to 4, 4 to 16, and it's very exponential. And that's the thing you need to find out in your particular, sort of after you launch, through the specific use case, find that little sort of the word of action things that get involved with other people just without them thinking about it.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so say, Bob, do you have anything to add on to answer his question?
Because I raised the X.
Yes, that's part of the reason, yes.
I like the language learning space, online, offline, has always been. My mother is 92 years old. She starts learning English through radio since 60 years old. She never stopped, every morning, 6 a.m. So in the past 2 or 3 years, I have invested and participate more than a dozen language online, offline type of business plan. And I do say, all these cleverness, there are tremendous amount of cleverness in what you're saying. However, I was very concerned, personally, just me, very concerned there's almost no entry barrier. See, when you strip down all these cleverness, somebody think this is cute for a few times and so on and so forth. For the value proposition to be delivered has to be much stronger, not run-of-the-mill, the typical type of Me Too with some clever addition. And again, that's just my humble opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. And Bob has 30 years experience in the investment in Silicon Valley and all over the world.
She always say that.
Oh no, you look young. You look like 30 years old.
You said 30 years ago. 5 years ago, you said 30 years experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I noticed that Mr. So sitting there listening very carefully and nodded your head from time to time. And would you like to share your comment?
Sure.
Yes.
Yes, the mic's still on. I just want to say I really enjoyed this whole exercise, and I think Julian, if he does not want to be in startup, perhaps he should join the government. I could sure use some help. You know, his passion just burns the whole way through. You know, and personally, I'm very interested in what you're doing because I have a daughter-in-law and a son-in-law who are non-Chinese, and they keep asking me how do they learn in Chinese. And so this, naturally comes to mind until Jack scared me that you would turn them into boyfriend and girlfriend with somebody else. That wouldn't go well with my son and my daughter, so I better not. In fact, I learned English from my girlfriend, now my wife. And so, but I want to say that there are a lot of Cantonese speakers like myself. Like before I joined the government in 2008, I didn't actually speak any Putonghua at all. And I started taking lessons, but it's pretty expensive. You have to do on, like you said, one-on-one and personal level. So I then discovered that there is a software where I could just input my text file, and it give me the pinyin as well as to give me MP3. And I learned my Putonghua that way in the past. I don't know how many Putonghua speeches I've given. Perhaps people would not understand what I said, but somehow it didn't seem to cause any chaos. So there are different ways where you can approach a language. Even the Chinese need to learn different dialects, Cantonese or Putonghua. Yeah. So I think the segmentation of that market perhaps is quite diverse.
Yeah.
And something that you may want to build into your model.
Yeah. As I said, there's a platform, right, for these best opportunities to be there. And I think in particular what you're mentioning about you digitalizing this idea, that's the same way if you were pinyin and even voice with somebody else practicing, you would get immediate feedback. So actually if you worked with yourself right now and you were obviously quite successful in getting that done, but you could even work with a language partner online and get immediate feedback and memorize and jog your memories through these conversations that you had with that person.
And I nod my head today because I learned so much from the panel of judges in the feedback. And, I wish I could stay, but I'm about to do another pitching myself. In the legislature today, we're going to pitch for the idea to form a new bureau called Technology Bureau. So I'm about to go to legislature.
Great.
I wish I could stay here for the rest of the presentation. Thank you. So, but I must leave now to do my own pitching. I wish I could bring Julian with me, but I must go along. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sung. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Julian, so would you like to join the Hong Kong government?
Okay. I say that what we do is also something like a bit like a cultural work, right? I'm already seeing myself a bit like a cultural representative to some extent for Hong Kong. Thank you so much for the invitation, though. So but I gotta stand with the startup for the time.
Very good, very good. Okay, so let's see the judge's final vote for you, if you are fundable or not fundable. Since Mr. So is not here, so you don't need to be afraid of anything. Just vote. Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Well, Bob, you still will. You do you have cross on both sides? And what's your opinion on him?
No, you told me Mr. So is not here anymore.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course.
No, I'm pretty consistent with my observation. Yeah. Personally, he's wonderful. This platform, it looks easy, sounds easy, but it's just way too many people doing it. Again, once again, that's just my view.
Very good. And Mr. David, and would you like to just give him some suggestions?
Well, I think you did well, Julian, and I think you have your backup plan with the government. So anyway, good luck.
Yes, Kenneth.
Also, beyond that, I think if this platform is successful, I mean, I need to have my kids learn Chinese, so I will use it. But also think about English. Yeah. I think there is about 1 billion people on the planet today trying to learn English. So once you conquer Chinese, go after English.
Good.
Okay. So Jack.
Yeah, I think actually Mr. So said something in his opening remarks. That was actually, so I mean, as you know, startup is all about trying. It's about fail fast. It's about the lean startup. I think there is something there. I really believe there's something there because you can see in real world how people learn languages, right? If you have an opportunity to meet a foreigner, I learned my English, in Beijing the same way. Try to go down the street and try to find some foreigners back in the 80s. Right, and to learn, and that was the best way. So if you can make this, a smart device-driven and real-time, and there's definitely something there.
So Jack, are you going to invest on him?
Yes.
Oh!
Listen, okay. So Leslie, you have some comment.
Well, obviously you are very passionate to do what you're doing. I would say that now you're about. Is it a relaunch or the first launch?
So we're currently in beta, and on April 25th, we will have a launch party, which means we will remove the beta sign from our. There's still tons of features that we're releasing, and of course still some bugs that we're fixing. But in the same time, it is our launch party. So we're currently in beta. The site is up. You can look it up. liveitchina.com. Take a look. Much more work to be done. We're just at the smaller battles, and the battle's getting probably bigger and bigger. But in the same time, April 25th is our launch party for Hong Kong. Yeah.
Best of luck with your launch.
Thank you.
That's great. Very good. And Julian, I really like what you're doing because actually you are introducing Chinese to the whole world.
Yeah.
When people are learning Chinese, then it's a good way for them to understand China, the culture.
That's why I'm here today, because that's obviously also a good platform to in the same time share about what we do and bring East and West a bit closer together.
But do you think it will be easier for a Chinese person to do that?
Do what? Do what?
Do what you are doing right now?
I think what our experience is we have to actually market to foreigners to get more Chinese users. That was basically our experience right now. So I think it's good for me as a person who went through the experience of learning Chinese to work on that product as a foreigner and actually get our initial China enthusiasts, the foreigners, on our platform, which will then allow the Chinese people to find the foreigners and to learn French, German, and English.
You regard yourself a foreigner, or you already think you are half Chinese?
Good question. I think I'm already like quarter something Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, I already have some interesting habits myself, and people sometimes say, "Oh, why you do that?" But that's how it's 入乡随俗, 对吧?
Yes, but there are so many, 俚语, special language or dialect in Chinese, and how well you understand that?
I think I can speak a little Shanghainese. That's what it is.
Come on. I want to hear your Shanghainese. Well, do we have Shanghainese here? Okay.
Well, I think that's it. But I think there's a lot of dialects, but obviously Cantonese and Mandarin is the very important dialects to focus on. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really like your passion and wish you success.
Thank you so much.
Thank
okay?
you.
Thank you guys.
No, come on.
Oh.
Julian, we have Dr. Wei Chen Li here.
Of course.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you very much. So that's the end of our show, and thank you for being with us. Thank you, our judges, and thank you, audience online, and today here on site. Thank you very much.